Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nichol.
Thank you so much for dropping in. This is Series 12, where I am talking to Team Canada people, athletes, staff, and all of that on their journey to Paris 2024. Now, there are always heartwarming triumphs and nail-biting challenges. Are we ready for another Olympic and Paralympic journey in this summer? We have July 26th to August 11th, the Olympics, and the Paralympic Games will be August 28th to September 8th, and all eyes will be on Paris. Now, it's been a roller coaster ride for most athletes that have gone to a prior Olympics, being the ones in Tokyo. With COVID-19, it made things a little different for athletes. So I've pulled some athletes and support staff together for this series. This is Series 12 that we will be dropping in on. Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Let me introduce the next guest. He's a Canadian record breaker in para shot put. He's a Parapan American Games multi-medalist in sitting volleyball as well as shot put. He was born without the lower part of his left arm, but that really hasn't stopped him from the many accolades in the sporting world I am about to tell you about. He's a U Sport Defensive Player of the Year in 2011, TRU men's basketball, a two-time bronze Parapan American Games medalist in 2007 and 2011 for sitting volleyball. He has 3 titles with the men's para standing volleyball team. 2019 Parapan Am Games silver medalist. 2019 IPC World Champion shot put silver medalist. He's an award winner, winning the Excellence Award by Kamloops Sports Council at the 2019 Sports Awards. And in 2020/2021, the Tokyo Paralympic Games, he took home a gold medal in para shot put F46 final. Now, he also gives back to sport by sitting on the Athletes Can board, sharing the voice of all Canadian national team athletes. You'll be happy to know he's coming out of retirement to try and qualify for the Paris Paralympics. This son, friend, fiancé, Parapan Am Games multi-medalist, Paralympic gold medalist is the tallest friend that I know. Let's welcome Greg Stewart to the podcast. Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, you have so many awards and medals. That was like a beast to get through.
Oh, I appreciate that. I find it interesting hearing them because I often forget
Yeah, on to the
that.
next, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, who is this guy we're talking about?
Okay, as dropping in always happens, we start with 10 rapid fire questions that are never rapid, so the listeners and watchers get to know you better. Are you ready to drop in?
Man, I've been wanting to drop in for a while now. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, so you've never seen these questions. We are going to start with number 1. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Adamantium skeleton, so I could be a Wolverine. Hands down, just the most badass, coolest man. Regeneration, all that. Like, yeah, adamantium. Can you imagine like forks coming out of here and a sword coming out of here? Like, it would be amazing. Yeah.
I'm just baffled that we haven't talked about Marvel before. I didn't know you were a Marvel fan.
Yeah, man. Well, Wolverine's technically DC, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Okay. Number 2, what's the funniest moment you've experienced during a competition?
I'm not sure how, like, we got to be careful with this question because there's multiple directions you can go. But I would say definitely one of the most funniest is Greg Stewart got really, really sick on a trip in Cambodia. And let's just say that it was expensive sheets and whatnot, mattress topper for the flight home. So it was a pretty funny, a very funny experience. All my teammates still bring it up. And this was like, honestly, 20 years ago.
Was it something you ate?
I ended up, I believe I got like a bit of like a stomach flu.
Mm.
And then the night after the team, we won the tournament we were competing in
Yeah.
Cambodia, we all went out for a bite to eat and drinks. And basically at like 1 o'clock in the morning, Greg had the flu.
Oh no.
And I can let the rest
in both directions.
almost one direction for sure.
Shit.
But yeah,
literally. Oh,
yeah, it was a little messy,
I'm so
for
sorry.
sure. Yeah,
That's
no,
fair.
it's good. It was
Well,
it's
you know
very,
what?
it was very funny. Yeah.
Do you know what? In Evan Dunphy's first first podcast I had on here, I have him in this series too. We talked about poop like so much and how people in race walking can just like poop while they race walk.
Yeah, that's so funny you say that, because maybe I was watching the dropping in session, because I remember a conversation about poop. And but yeah, like we're all getting there. I pooped the bed in Cambodia, and about a year after that event happened,
Yeah.
we had World Championships in Regina, Canada.
Okay.
And after we won the World Cup, Cambodia was competing there. After the award ceremonies, everything like that, the coach of the Cambodian team was handing out T-shirts to everybody.
Oh no.
And I got the T-shirt last, and everyone was laughing. And on the T-shirt was a picture of me playing volleyball, and it was like tickets to Cambodia $1,500, accommodations in Cambodia like $500, pooping the bed in Cambodia priceless, and then a MasterCard symbol on the bottom of it. So yeah.
I'm like crying. I'm laughing so hard. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, and people are gonna watch this. So okay, awesome. Yeah. There you go.
These are the best stories. So it's not all glitz and glam when you're on Team Canada.
No, that's a great question. Thank you for that.
Thanks for being honest. Number 3, if you could trade places with any famous person or athlete for a day, who would it be and why?
I'd say this one hits pretty close to home. I don't know if it was a famous person, but I would love to trade positions with my dad when he was serving in the RCMP. I would love to know what people in the RCMP, people in law enforcement go through. Just because nowadays, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I would want to be in law enforcement right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems really challenging and whatnot. But I would love to understand what it is that they're going through,
right,
to get a better understanding of like the outlook on chaos and devastation and all that stuff like that, just to get a better idea, so that, you know, when they're getting all this flack, maybe we can have a better understanding of what they're actually going through. So
I respect that answer.
And on top of it, like, I have been in the car with my dad when the lights and sirens are going on, and that is the ultimate adrenaline rush. Oh my God. Yeah. It's insane.
Wild. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love your answers. Number 4, what's your favorite post-competition treat?
Easy. DQ Reese peanut butter cup pie. All day
I did
long.
not see that coming. Not see that coming.
Oh yeah. But does it have to be like post competition, or how about like post training session? Oh no, I just had a good day, let's have another one. You know, post Taylor, my partner. Hey Taylor, dinner was good. Let's go get fiance, actually. Yeah.
Get that
fiancé.
one right.
Let's go to get a Reese peanut butter cup pie blizzard. So whether it's a post game or post anything.
Post happiness.
Pre happiness. So
I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Shout out to Dairy Queen. You know, if you're ever looking for, you know, sponsors out there, you know, I'd gladly support that.
Oh my gosh, you should get on that one. I like that. Number 5, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received. Vulnerability creates success.
Who gave you that one?
I think it was like a mixture of like working groups, working with other people, my counselor, you know, all the, you know, mental health practitioners, athletes, everything like that. Yeah. I don't think the words themselves were given as advice, but I think once you kind of compile all the information together, that's what it meant. Just watching athletes, we put ourselves through a lot.
Yeah.
Like I was having this conversation earlier today. We put ourselves in a failure zone. That's
Right.
what we do. In order for us to get better, we have to consistently fail. But in order to fail, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to look at it. How can we get better at it? How can we move through it? How can we accept it? All those steps. So I think that we need to be vulnerable to be successful.
I like that.
So,
vulnerability creates success. That's cool. Number 7, what's your favorite sport memory?
Well, that Cambodia trip is not one of them. But
the negative ones always somehow like come to the forefront, don't they?
Yeah. I would say probably my favorite sporting moment was when I released the shot put, the first throw at the Tokyo Paralympic Games, and not hearing it hit the ground. And then like there's like a few, like a couple seconds there, or maybe a split second, where I was like, so when I throw a shot put, I do a glide. So I face out the back and then glide and then face forward and then turn back around just to finish my throw.
Yeah.
And I usually turn and then wait to hear it hit the ground, but it took a little bit longer to hit the ground. And I was like, interesting. And then I walked out the back half and went and looked at the giant screen and saw 25, thinking to myself, 15.75 is a great start, but it was 16.75, which was a Paralympic record. And I was just like, and then I just started to cry because I was just like, I was in like a really heavy place of gratitude and love and happiness and excitement and all of that. And I just, I think that was probably one of my favorite moments. It's one of the things I talk about the most. And that was also, I would say, my moment of greatness. Oftentimes, the best athletes in the world, they just go through the motion and they don't have to think about it. They don't have to worry about it. They don't even at the end of the game, they probably don't even remember a lot of it because it's ingrained in them. They just know what it is.
Right.
And so like that moment where I threw it and I didn't know what happened was, I would say, like my favorite moment.
Wow. I love that. I didn't know that. That's super cool. Number 7, what's the best place sport has taken you?
Everywhere. Physically all over the world. I'm actually going back to Kobe, Japan here in a month for Worlds. So I love Japan. Japan is the most beautiful place I've ever been.
And they're so nice there.
Oh, yeah. And we didn't really bring it up, but I'm one of your tallest friends, but I'm actually 7'2", which is massive.
Yes.
And so I'm not just like tall, I'm very tall.
How do you fit in a plane?
I don't. Let's not even talk about it. There's unless that's one of your questions, be like, what is the most uncomfortable thing for you? Airplane rides. But but on the physical side, it's taken me all over the world,
Yeah.
But on the other side, excuse me, it's taken me on an incredible mental health journey. It's taught me a lot about myself. It's taught me a lot about, how I perceive myself, how I perceive others. It has taught me a lot about rights and wrongs and how to build integrity and how to learn to be trustworthy and how to to take ownership on things. So sport has done incredible things in terms of the journey it's taken me on.
Wild. Yeah, it's so true and not always talked about in that essence. So I love that. Number 8, what's your favorite thing to do outside of training and competing? Not saying that those are your favorite things to do, but maybe you like it.
Honestly, I think one of the things I love to do is lay on the couch and play on my phone and just zone out sometimes.
Yeah, because you were telling me about your schedule, and I do want to get into that, but like you were telling me how crazy your diligent your schedule is set for your training times and everything. So let's just like talk about that for a second so that people can understand why it's important to zone out and be on your phone.
So the way I used to train, I'm not currently training like that anymore just because it was so much.
Yeah.
But competed and trained under what's called periodization method, or Dr. Bondarchuk method.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all about peak performance. And I think a lot of people can understand peak performance. You want to perform when you're at your peak ability.
Yeah.
But the way it works, especially in shot put, because it's so controllable, in shot put, you can't get up as many reps as you would like a basketball, right? I'm throwing a 13.5 pound shot put. So a basketball weighs 2-3 pounds, maybe a little bit more, but you can put up 1,000 shots in a day.
Yeah.
Right. In shot put, you might be lucky if you can get 50.
Okay.
And so it takes a long time. But because of that long time, you can really monitor and look at everything.
Yeah.
And so periodization, if you were to look at a graph, every session that I would throw, I would always measure my furthest throw.
Yeah.
And you would watch over time that I would gradually go up. My throws would get a little bit further. Then they would level off. Then they would go down. Then they would go back up. And then I would hit what's called my down. And my down is where, say on session 23, on session 20, I would throw 16 meters. Well, on session 21 would be like 1550. Session 22 would be like 15. Session 23 would be like 14. And then you would just rest and everything on like that. And then on session 25, I'd throw like 16.5 meters.
So wild.
And so, but the thing I didn't bring up is that in between, so I would throw the same weight and do all the exact same exercises.
Yeah.
When I wasn't competing, I wasn't doing anything else, because the whole purpose is to trick your nervous system, your central nervous system, into getting to a place of plateau and then exhausting it so that it needs to reset itself. And that's what that down is, to a point of peak periodization. And so it'd get to a point where you could literally time when you're going to compete. And so for me, every competition I would compete in would be the 5th session of the new program. I would peak, then 5 sessions of another program, and I would throw typically PB every time.
So wild.
Yeah. So
that, kids, why it's fine to zone out on your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, now that my program's different now,
Okay.
I'm still doing a lot of that zoning out on my phone, where maybe I could spend some time doing other things. So
that's okay. Okay, number 9. If you were organizing a shot put themed party, what activities would you include?
A shot put themed party?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it would totally be like Highland Games style. I was watching them train the other day. Man, they do like shot put, they do hammer throw, they do like a keg toss or something like that, like throwing it over, like they do all that stuff. There would be probably 10 different breweries there. There would be pretzels. I don't like pretzels, but
they go hand in hand.
But they would go hand in hand if you have them. Heyo, one arm joke. But yeah. And I think we would all be dressed in like a kilt. We'd definitely go like very Highlands Games approach. I'm a Stewart, so I'm obviously Scottish already. So I'd wear my tartan and go from there. So
is that your descent? Are you Scottish?
I am, yeah.
I am too.
No way.
Yes.
What?
I know. Okay, we're learning so much about each other.
There we go.
Great. Last one of the rapid fire that's never rapid, but everyone knows that. How do you mentally prepare yourself before a shot put competition?
So this is one of the things that I teach a lot. And it's the easiest trick in the book. The easiest way to get prepared is to stop and take a deep breath. Because then when you stop, so like this, it gives you an opportunity to identify what's going on around you or what's going on within you, especially in competition. So if there's nerves, if there's excitement, fear, whatever the case, it allows you the opportunity to identify it and mentally take awareness of it. And now you can make the decisions to how do you want to move forward with it. And so I think just stopping, taking a deep breath, allowing yourself a little bit of time of acceptance can create a lot of really, really great things. So,
That's awesome.
and it doesn't have
Sometimes
to apply. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just thinking, a lot of people ask that question, like top of the half pipe, right when you're gonna do your competition. What are you thinking? And I feel like because I did my sport for so long that it just became second nature to take that deep breath. That's like such a great thing to remember because sometimes it just becomes the norm,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Absolutely. And
forget to mention it.
absolutely. Again, whether at the top of the half pipe or you're about to walk into the circle,
Mhm.
I always take a deep breath. I'm sure you do too. But you're right, it becomes second nature because it just becomes part of your rhythm,
Mhm.
right? And that's like it might be your first step to zoning in before you're
Yeah.
dropping in. So, no,
And
mine's the same way. Zone
I
in
like
before
that.
I throw a bomb.
And it kinda gets those butterflies a little out of the way, right?
Hmm.
That's so
Well,
cool. Okay.
yeah, I could
No, I
talk about
love
that
it.
forever. So,
We will. That was the rapid fire. Such good answers. I'm sure everyone got to know you a little bit better, and as did I, which is so wonderful always. I do want to, you brought up in there the weight of the shot put. You said it was what, 13 and a half pounds.
yeah, so I throw a 6 kilo, which is
Okay.
13.2 pounds.
And does
Um,
everyone throw that or like,
in my Paralympic classification, on the Olympic side, they throw a 7.26, which is
okay.
16 pounds. And Ryan Krauser, the American, currently holds the world record, and I believe it's 23.56 meters, so like
Holy.
76 feet.
Okay. And what
So I'm
was your
throwing
Paralympic distance?
1675, which is 55 feet. So they're throwing a heavier shot put, what, 9 meters further, 8 meters, 7 meters. I'm trying to do that 7 meters
Wow.
further. Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
And do the women throw? So how does it work for para weights and
I
stuff
don't
like that?
know the exact classification on
Okay.
how they determine the weight, but my guess is that based on your level of your disability, the
Yeah.
severity of it,
Yeah.
the lower the weight. Um, but like on the Olympic side, men throw the 726.
Yeah.
On the women's side, they throw the 4K.
Okay.
Um, and then on the Paralympic side, I think in my class, so I'm an F46, F
Yeah.
meaning field, 40 being part of the ambulatory, so amputee, and
Got
6,
it.
I believe, is upper body.
Okay.
Um, there's other F46 female athletes, and they, I believe, throw the 4 or the 3K. So it just
Okay.
depends on kind of your level of
The
severity.
classification. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does get complicated in the para games.
Oh, totally.
With
Totally.
classifications. So I appreciate you breaking down the F46 because I've said it and I didn't know what it meant.
No worries. I got you.
Oh man. Okay. I want to talk about, okay, you retired. You got your gold medal. I've seen it. It's beautiful. You retired and then you decided to come back. Let's talk about how that got into your brain.
I missed it. So
Oh.
one of the things too so I always make a joke, okay, like, when people are watching Mercedes in the half pipe,
Yeah.
the stands are packed, people are yelling, cheering, chugging beer, doing all that kind of stuff. When I throw a shot put, I might have one person in the stand, and it's probably my mom, um, or my mom and dad, So, um, but why I'm making that reference is COVID took that away from all of us.
Mhm.
Um, I'm extremely grateful that I had the opportunity to compete in Tokyo, to be able to compete during the COVID games.
Mhm.
Um, sorry, I'm putting the quotation up there just because it's like it was COVID
Yeah.
and we were dealing with competing in the Paralympic Games. But I'm
Yeah.
super grateful that I was able to do it because look at the world. We were in utter chaos. Like
Yeah.
the world was just, the places were shut down. People are losing their minds. Like the chaos happening in the world was insane.
Mhm.
Yet we are still able to get together and have these games, which
Right.
is a huge thing. Don't get me wrong. I know consumerism and all that stuff plays a role too, but the fact that they were able to put it on and people are able to come together and compete was incredible. But I missed the opportunity to have it with everyone watching there. That was my first Paralympic Games. I'd never been to one before that. And so talking with like our director in Athletics Canada, Carla Nichols, who you know as well, she's like, you know, if you'd like to come back, there's an opportunity that you can compete in front of 70,000 people.
I love that.
So that's pretty big hype, plus the fact that this will be the first games since COVID. So I think it will be that hype.
Yeah.
And I get to come back as a defending champion.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've already won the medal. I don't need to do it again.
But do you want it?
I would love another, piece of hardware.
Yeah.
But I always say this, like the hardware is awesome in terms of remembering, but the hardware isn't what defines me.
Yeah. I respect that.
And I just think that's an important part for me, at least. But I think the journey, going back to that question, the journey, like this is a journey. Us as athletes have incredible platforms. All eyes are on us. And I think that's another big reason why I stepped out, because I just don't think my journey's over.
Yeah.
I know I'm a little bit of an older athlete. I understand my body needs a little bit more rest than normal and all that, but if I can still continue to share this platform, to speak on behalf of myself and other athletes, share the love, talk about mental health, why not?
So good. So good. It's awesome because my teammate, Dom Valet, who I had on the podcast, she's now a doctor of Chinese medicine, and we were traveling together, and she retired earlier than I did in snowboarding. And I'm like, how did you decide that? She's like, when you know, you know. And I was like, that is like so not helpful. Like, what are you even talking about? And you're not the only one on this series to come out of retirement. I have Jackie on an earlier episode, and she came out of retirement, and she was in freaking medical school, and she just got a silver at World Championships in artistic swimming. So I'm just like, I'm rooting for you guys so much. It's amazing. And just knowing that if you want to come back, and you can and you will, which I think is so cool.
Absolutely. And I also think, like, for a very long time, high performance was very number based. And I think people are starting to recognize that high performance is very individual based too.
Okay. What do you mean by number based?
Is that we are a number.
Yeah, we're not actually. They don't look at us as a human. They look at us as next, like who's next. They're not going to make it move on to the next. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think with just like the culture of mental health, the culture of mindfulness and well-being and stuff like that, I think we're starting to recognize that you can create a lot of great success, if not more success, by looking at the person for who they are and helping develop all of that versus just getting a medal. Because I think social media does an excellent job of it. There are tons of influencers out there that haven't won a thing. Right. But they're the ones that are spreading the love. They're the ones that are sharing. They're the ones that are creating a better environment around them.
Yeah.
And they just keep creating, right? And it's almost like, I'm not trying to downgrade a medal, but at the same time, we're just creating a different culture about what high performance looks like.
Yeah, and it's super interesting that you say that, because the culture in high performance can be like, oh, we're just going to help the person that's on the podium. But that person doesn't always get to the podium without the people below them pushing them to the top. And those are the people that you need to help those medals come and people thrive. And I think that those people have been a little overlooked, at least within the Canadian system.
100%. We've always been. I think that honestly goes for a lot of countries.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're not top 3, you're nothing. But you're nothing to start off with until you can get somewhere, right?
Totally.
But it's those nothing years that are the most important.
Oh, Totally. Oh my gosh, I love
right?
where this conversation's going. There's a reason you sit on the athletes can board. It's so awesome. It's so great. And now I want to talk about qualifiers for Paris for you. How does
Okay.
that work? I couldn't in my research find out how that works.
No worries. So it's different than the Olympics. So from what
Mhm.
I understand on the Olympic side is you can kind of send as many athletes as you want, especially in athletics,
Okay.
depending on what your budget is, right? But you can
Well, I
send
think it
as many.
depends. There's usually like a maximum of 4 women, 4 men for each discipline, I would assume, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but like
Yeah.
I've had a conversation where it's like if you have spots, you can fill them.
Okay. Oh, but
Um,
they have to qualify them, right? There's a
you
certain
still have to
amount. Yeah.
qualify. You still have to
Yeah.
like throw your standards.
We're not
So
trying to
that's one
make
of the
it
things.
sound easy.
No. You still have to have like Olympic standard, or you have to. This is on the Olympic side. You have to have like
Yeah.
Olympic standard, or I think be considered top 30 or 35 in the world.
Mhm. Right.
So if you
Mellow.
hold, so if you hold any of those, um, there's a likeliness you'll go, and that's what I mean. Like they'll send
Yeah.
as many as they can, right? If you have a lot of those athletes in those, either hold standard or are top 30, they'll just send you. Not a lot of athletes get standard.
Okay.
I wouldn't say majority, but I'd say there's less people that get standard. It's more based on rankings.
Okay.
On the Paralympic side in athletics, it's all determined by slot allocation.
Okay.
And that is determined by how you finish at Worlds the previous year. So Team Canada got, I believe, 6 male slots and I think 6 female slots. I was looking at it earlier today. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
But that's determined by a top 4 finish in your event.
Okay. Is that like a personal slot or an all-around
No,
Team
all
Canada
around. So
slot?
it's just a Team Canada
Okay.
athletics gender-based.
Okay.
So
Oh, God.
you can finish first in your event, become a world champion, but that does not guarantee you a space on the team the following year. It just guarantees the teams a slot.
Yeah. Okay. How does that make you feel? Currently,
Well, I did. Yeah,
you weren't competing there,
I didn't
so
earn
you're
anybody.
good.
Yeah, I didn't earn anybody a slot, so I'm
Yeah.
actually potentially taking a slot away.
Right. Okay.
However, I
How
have
do you?
worlds. I have worlds in Japan here in a month where I could earn our team another spot or another slot, but I have to finish top 2.
Wait, why do you have to? Why?
Because that's the only available slot positions.
Is 1 or 2?
And the thing, though, and this is where it gets more complex, is
Okay.
if you competed at Worlds, last year, so Worlds were in Paris last year, for any country, and you medaled, you're top 4, you've already guaranteed your country a slot allocation. You can now go back to the games and prevent athletes from gaining more slots.
By coming in first or second.
Yeah.
Copy that.
So I'm going to compete.
Oh, no, wait, that just clicked in my head. So that then there would be less Canadian births.
Correct.
Because that person, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Is anyone doing that? Is anyone doing that?
Yeah, I think when I announced that I'm coming back, I think my whole entire classification is like, we don't want Greg to come.
Oh my gosh.
I just learned actually earlier today that 2 people that have already earned spots are going to be at Worlds.
Are they your friends?
Like they're competitors. I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like all the people I compete against, but
this is so stressful.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you have to get 1 or 2 at Worlds to get a potential another berth, and then when do the actual qualifyings of the team happen?
So then now you got to meet standards. So you got to have like the minimum entry standard. So in my category, 11.05 or 1150 is like the minimum standard.
Is that the distance you have to?
Yeah, I'm throwing 1584. So
wait, what do we call it? Do we call it shotting or pudding or shot pudding? Is that the distance you have to
I've been
shot
doing this
put?
for like 8 years and I still don't know what I'm saying. So like, I think you put it. Well, no, I don't think. So yes, I put the
Okay.
shot.
Yeah.
Because if you throw it, it's technically you gets a fault. You're not allowed to throw it.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, you
So
put it.
you have to be able to put it 11 point something.
Yeah, you got to place it at least 11.5 meters further.
Okay.
So you have to meet that, but then you also
Mhm.
have to be considered like a top 6 in your
Okay.
class is important. So I'm currently ranked 4th
Yeah.
based on distances. So, but hopefully I can throw a little bit further so I can get a higher
Okay.
distance ranking, which will then help guarantee a spot.
Nice.
But what's different from our sport to most other sports, like I don't know if you saw wheelchair basketball, men's just qualified.
I did see that. Go Bo.
Right? Yeah, go Bo. There's a few other sports that recently just qualified, right? So we're still like 6 months away, 5 months away.
Yikes.
In athletics,
Yeah.
we find out the end of June.
Yeah. You know what? We didn't find out for sure until 2 weeks before.
Okay, so you're in the same boat. I feel
It
like
sucks. It sucks.
it does. It's challenging because it's like everyone right now is booking their flights, families coming, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you still don't know if you have a clue if you're going.
I know. And then do you compartmentalize that? Like they're making their own plans and you're not involved. And then you're like, I'm focused on this. I may or may not be going. I know it's so hard.
I'm trying to do that, but they're still asking, hey, like, so if you're competing at this time, are we going to do anything after? Like, are we going to be able to come and see you at all during it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going.
I know.
Right?
It's such a weird outside pressure additive that doesn't need to be there because you should just be focusing on what you're doing.
100%.
But we love our families, so
we do.
it gets a little infiltrated.
So September's a busy month too because I compete on September 4th. Yeah, and then Taylor and I are gonna travel around a little bit, probably like a week after. Yes. And then we're home for a weekend, and then we get married the weekend after.
Oh, yeah. Damn!
Yeah,
so awesome.
My best friend.
That's the best.
Marry my best friend. Yeah,
that's so awesome.
So then you got to compete at nationals, which are the end of June.
Okay.
And then you technically have to win your event in order to get the golden ticket, which would basically say you are going.
Okay. And where are nationals this year?
In Montreal.
Oh.
Montreal.
Oui. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay, I do want to wish you the best of luck. Going to be following you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to touch on you giving back to sport and communities because that is something that you definitely do. And it is not, I don't want to overlook that at all. I want to talk about you with Athletes Can. You sit on the board and that's been great. How has that experience been for you? And explain a little bit what Athletes Can is to the listeners that don't know.
I freaking love it. So Athletes Can is a governing body for all national team athletes. Basically, we're athletes supporting athletes. We are a voice for them. So basically, if anything is going on within an athlete's life or journey in sport and aren't getting support from their national sport organization, it's our job. We're there because we want to support them. So if there's any legal actions or any type of resources they're looking for, mental health, health benefits, access to education, anything like that, we provide that for them. And so, I got elected here a year and a half ago. Absolutely love it. And one of the things I love the most about it is that it's multi-sport.
Yeah.
You know,
Olympic, Paralympic, and all national team athletes. Yeah, I was on the board 2018 through 2020,
2021.
Yeah. So, and it was awesome. And I've stayed close with Athletes Can as well, which has been great.
Absolutely. Shout out to Mercedes for being the best organizer for Forum. Forum is an event where we bring all the athlete representatives from every board together to learn more about governance, to network, to bring themselves together so that they can have a better understanding of what's going on within our athlete community and bring a more voice to all of them.
Yeah, it gets confusing for athletes. We talked about it a little bit earlier about the culture of athletes and athletes. What I'm taking from learn in my seat now, being retired, is like I was super selfish, and I just wanted to do my sport, and I just didn't understand why national sports organizations had so many staff, and I had to pay for everything out of pocket, and I was just like, "What is this? I need to understand." And I'm getting a better understanding of both sides of the story now, which is great. And that's
100%.
what Athletes Can does too.
100%. The moment you include money in anything, you need to create, you need to have governance around it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Unfortunately, we're not a society that isn't greedy and isn't, more me focused. There is a lot of selfishness that goes on when you include money. And so having governance around that is a huge and important thing. And I totally agree too. My majority of my career was like, I'm never taking part in politics. Politics ruins sport.
It does. Yeah.
Right? Policies, procedures, this and that. But now that I'm part of it, I'm like, I'm glad we have it because things could be very, very worse. And honestly, things are still bad. There's so much coming up, in terms of, the way people are treated, bobsleigh, skeleton, hockey, nothing against winter sports, Mercedes, but there's a lot of things coming up, even in athletics, and there's a reason why we're out there. There's a reason why we're here to be a voice for others that are, either scared or unsure how to speak. So,
I think that it's good to say that it's for athletes, by athletes, and I love that. I do want to talk about funding because you've done a lot for our lovely people at Can Fund, Miss Jane Roos. Let's talk about what you did last year and what may be coming up in the future.
All right, what do we want to talk? So when I returned home from Tokyo with my gold medal, one of my best friends, he's like, I want to do something different for Greg. So he worked with Steamworks Brewing in Vancouver and got a 24 pack of Pilsner, because I'm a big fan of their beer. Yeah. And a custom label, and he called it Shot of Gold. It was a picture of me on it and everything like that. And he gave it to me as a gift. And I was like, what an incredible gift. Yeah. And so I asked him, hey, would you mind if I turn this into a fundraiser? So then I got together with all 5 breweries in Kamloops, BC, where I'm from. And we created Shot of Gold beer, a golden ale. And we basically made a giant fundraiser out of it for Can Fund. So Can Fund supports Olympic and Paralympic athletes with a now $8,000 gift. $8,000.
Oh, is it $8,000 now?
Yeah, so it used to be $6,000. So
it
before
used
Tokyo,
to be $5,000 when I was in it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so it used to be $5,000.
Wow.
Used to be $6,000. Now it's $8,000.
Oh
so
gosh.
I'm just a second. I just recently got supported by Can Fund again.
Yes.
There was a total. We were doing a fundraising gala here about a month ago in Toronto. There was a total of 903 applicants sent for funding. 903. You do the math. 903 times $8,000 is 7.2 million.
Don't ask
or
me to
is
do
it
math.
72 million? That's grabbing.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
While you're doing the math, I want people to know that Can Fund gives money directly to athletes. There's no middleman. It's $8,000 going towards that athlete's funding. So the fact that you helped put money towards that is so awesome because it's so necessary.
So we did a Shot of Gold. We ended up we did a silent auction on top, raised like $14,000. So it was super successful. And now coming in June of 2024, Shot of Gold round 2. Bum, bum, bum. So we're going to double the batch here in Kamloops. We're going to try to expand it if we can.
Okay.
If people want to reach out, feel free. We can always set aside stuff. But yeah, last time we had about 1,100 bombers, so like the big bottles.
Yeah.
This time I think we're going to aim for like 16 to 1,800,
Wow.
4,000 cans, and probably like 20 or 30 kegs, and then also have a big fundraiser again in town. I'm aiming for like getaways to Victoria, getaways to Vancouver, getaways to
Mhm.
Revelstoke skiing, Sun Peak skiing. This one, I
Very
don't know
cool.
if we'll be able to do it, but a weekend in Seattle
Oh,
for like a Seahawks Mariners maybe, or
yeah.
Seahawks and Kraken, and
Cool.
I just don't know when all the sports line up, and maybe a Huskies game. So it'll turn into like a sporting event. So
Very
we'll
cool.
see. But end of June. So keep your eyes and ears open for a shot of gold,
I love it.
and maybe raise this to 25K.
Yes. So good. Thank you so much for giving back to the sporting community, and thank you for dropping in today. Where can people find you online?
Check me out at Greg __R _ Stewart STEWART is my Instagram handle. And then also check for the Mindful Elite. It's not on Instagram yet, but it will be. But it should be the Mindful MINDFULLETE, as in the mindful athlete.
Okay.
I will also be having a podcast out there in the next little bit, and Mercedes is high on the priority for I guess
Thank
Mercedes,
you.
what you do in terms of bringing a voice to athletes, even on this, dropping in. It's always awesome. Very grateful for you creating this platform.
Thank you.
And just creating more awareness for more the general population to understand and experience what athletes go through.
Yeah.
Is very heartwarming, and we're very grateful and indebted to you. So thank you for doing what you're doing too.
Aw, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Now everyone else can go to droppinginwithmercedes.com to find out more episodes and what's going on. Greg, thank you again so much for dropping in, and best of luck with everything on all your endeavors. We only want the best for you.
Beautiful. Thank you
for dropping in today. You can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music, and my mom for the intro voice.